Hello everyone, this is John and Joe Lennis here again today. I'm going to be going over 4 peer responses for the pages 7 through 290 of The Guarded Gate. The first person I'm going to be going over is Alison Otto, and she responds to the question of how she felt on eugenics. I totally agree with what she said, especially the part about it's like how they breeded sporting dogs, and that's exactly what it reminded me of, because what they're trying to do with this form of science, which I think is a pseudoscience, is crossbreed certain people to get ideal intellectuals and genetic superiority, I suppose. But she writes that her thoughts of eugenics are the form of scientific racism. And I agree totally. It seems like they fit a narrative for themselves to get across something that they want to happen. Another person that I want to go over is Maria Mata Marines. She responds to the question about how she thinks that the immigration tactics back then in the 1920s are comparable to today. And she says that it immediately reminded her of Donald Trump and how he signed an executive order banning all countries that were heavily Muslim. And I agree, because although he claimed it was for safety, it seemed a little unreasonable to believe that anybody that was Muslim had to do with something against our safety. You could argue that certain things come out of that, but we have certain violent acts that happen here in the United States. So really, what are we protected from? And I think that was her point. And the next person that I'm going to go over is Adriana Woolbridge. She responds to the question about immigration as well and how it compares to today. And I agree with this one as well, because she quotes Davenport and how he talks about building a wall high enough to keep immigrants out, which obviously everybody remembers Trump talking about that was supposedly supposed to be built and paid for by Mexico. I don't think the latter happened. And last but not least is Sierra Gonzalez. She responds to the question about how this book relates to the other two books. And she talks about mainly trauma, because both Mencken and Dr. Jane talk about trauma and how it's passed down. Mencken talks about it through the body, and Dr. Jane talks about it psychologically and somewhat physiologically. And I think what she was saying here is that this is a lot of evidence of how trauma was built in a previous setting and could have been passed down to generations that are happening today. And it's very easy to see that even those white people who are racist, but they're not pure, I guess they're also German or they're Italian, and at some point in America, people were racist against them as well. So I think what she was trying to say here is that this might be a reason why they still involve themselves in racism, because it was almost passed down as a trait. That's all I got for today, and thank you for listening.